Good day. Here is the news at noon. First, the highlights. Lagos State United Nations Industrial Development Organization. Japanese government hosts sensitization seminar to combat cholera outbreak. Federal government aims to generate 2 million jobs through renewed Hope social housing scheme. On the foreign scene, United States President UK Prime Minister to meet after agreeing on new trade deal. And in sports, Super Falcons striker Azizat Oshoala debunks retirement talks. And now the details. I am Akan Usen. In its unwavering commitment to combating possible cholera outbreak in Lagos State, especially flood-prone areas, the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, LASEPA, in collaboration with the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, and the government of Japan, have organized a public awareness and sensitization seminar for informal food and water vendors, as well as waste workers in Lagos. The event, held at the Lagos City Centre, Surah, Lagos Island, is part of the UNIDO Project 240236 themed emergency capacity building of informal food and water vendors and waste workers in flood-affected Lagos to combat cholera outbreaks. Speaking at the event, Permanent Secretary, Office of Environmental Services, Omobolaji Gaji, emphasized the health risks associated with cholera, identifying key symptoms such as stooling, vomiting, dehydration, and fatigue, which may lead to death if not addressed swiftly. Gaji, who was represented by a director at the Lagos State Ministry of Environment, Aino Falai, noted that cholera is commonly caused by contaminated food and water, and underscored the importance of proper environmental sanitation, personal hygiene, and safe food and water handling practices. In his address, General Manager of LASEPA, Tunde Ajayi, explained that the sensitization is an international partnership with UNIDO for cholera prevention funded by the government of Japan. Ajayi noted that food and water vendors had been identified as key players in the transmission cycle, as many of them were found to use contaminated water in food and beverage preparation. He added that the campaign has already covered Ikorodu and now Lagos Island, with plans to reach other local government areas in the coming months. The Lagos State government has called on Lagosians to be patient and understanding as discussions continue to address the 3-day warning strike announced by the Medical Guild. The strike was declared following allegations of unilateral salary deductions and other related grievances by the medical professionals. In a press release signed by Director of Public Affairs, Lagos State Ministry of Health, Tubosun Ogunbawo, the government acknowledged the concerns raised by the Medical Guild during a July 26 press conference, but assured the public that all issues are being taken seriously and actively addressed. The statement emphasized that ongoing negotiations and engagement are in progress to resolve the disputes amicably. This situation marks a rare development in recent years for the ministry, which highlighted its commitment to the welfare, motivation, and productivity of healthcare workers, serving Lagos's population of over 20 million residents. It states that a conciliation committee formed from representatives of both the Medical Guild and the government has been meeting and reviewing documentation submitted by the Guild in accordance with existing policies and fiscal regulations. The government called on the Medical Guild to maintain dialogue and reconsider the strike to avoid a disruption of critical healthcare services, and reiterated its dedication to supporting healthcare workers and maintaining industrial harmony within the sector. And now to the rest of the stories. The federal government has set a goal to generate over 2 million jobs across Nigeria through its Renewed Hope social housing program, aimed at addressing the country's housing deficit and creating economic opportunities for citizens. Minister of Housing and Urban Development Ahmed Dangiwa made this known during a working session with the House of Representatives Committee on Housing and Habitat at the National Assembly Complex, Abuja. Dangiwa explained that the Renewed Hope Social Housing Program is a flagship initiative designed to provide affordable housing for low-income earners, vulnerable groups, the unemployed, and internally displaced persons. According to him, 100 housing units will be constructed in each of the 774 local government areas across the country. Dangiwa noted that the housing initiative will generate over 2 million jobs, breaking it down as 25 persons per job, 27 jobs per location in 77,400 locations. Delta State government has announced plans to launch Phase 2 of the Drug-Free Delta campaign in collaboration with the State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA. Director General of the Delta State Orientation and Communications Bureau, Fred Ogenesibe, who made this known, said good parenting is essential for addressing the growing wave of moral decline in society. Ogenesibe made specific reference to a trending video on social media showing a young man under the influence of hard drugs wallowing in bacteria-infected muddy water. He identified broken homes, the negative lifestyles of some parents, and the challenges of single parenthood as major contributing factors to moral decline, substance abuse, and other social vices. And now to foreign news. United States President Donald Trump is due to meet UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer in Ayrshire, hours after announcing a new US-EU trade deal. Trump and EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announced the agreement on Sunday evening after meeting in Turnberry. The deal, which will see a blanket tariff of 15% on most EU goods imported to the US, will kick in on Friday and means the EU will avoid Trump's threatened 30% tariffs. Both Trump and von der Leyen can paint the trade deal as something of a victory, with the EU dodging high tariffs and the US earning up to $90 billion in tariff money. At their bilateral meeting, Trump and Starmer are expected to discuss Gaza, as the Prime Minister may press the President on ceasefire efforts. Anyway, from all that, now sports. Super Falcons striker Asisat Oshoala has dismissed speculations about her retirement from the team. There were reports during the just concluded 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations that Oshoala will quit international football after the competition. Oshoala has, however, said she will continue playing for the team, stating that he has no idea where the retirement talks came from. Oshoala played her part as the Super Falcons won a record-extending 10th title at the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. The 24-year-old scored Nigeria's opening goal of the competition and featured as a substitute in a 3-2 comeback victory over the Atlas Lionesses in the final. It was the former Barcelona lady striker's fourth WAFCON title with the Super Falcons. Oshoala has scored 37 times in 61 appearances for Nigeria. And that's all for the news at noon. Stay alive. Make use of pedestrian bridges where available. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms. On X at Traffic Radio 961, Facebook Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, Instagram Lagos Traffic Radio 961. On YouTube, subscribe and watch us live on our channel, Traffic Radio 961. Visit our website on www.trafficradio961.ng. You can also listen to Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM live on my Lagos app for timely updates. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu administration deployed traffic light and CCTV cameras in strategic places in the state. You can get more details on the Lagos State government's website. To end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. In its unwavering commitment to combating possible cholera outbreak in Lagos State, especially flood-prone areas, the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, LASEPA, in collaboration with the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, and the government of Japan, has organized a public awareness and sensitization seminar for informal food and water vendors, as well as waste workers in Lagos. The federal government has set a goal to generate over 2 million jobs across Nigeria through its Renewed Hope social housing program aimed at addressing the country's housing deficit and creating economic opportunities for citizens. We also told you that United States President Donald Trump is due to meet UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer in Ayrshire hours after announcing a new US-EU trade deal. And in sports, Super Falcons striker Asisat Oshoala has dismissed speculations about her retirement from the team. For contact with the newsroom, please send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. And that ends the news broadcast compiled by Adiswa Ejoga. I am Akan Usen. Thanks for listening and please stay safe. Good afternoon.